Hello and welcome to the end of the JavaScript course. My name is Chris, one of the peer mentors here at Metacrafters, and today is assessment day. Now, I know for a lot of you, this is your very first time coding anything, right? But not to fear, because what we're going to be doing today is coding this together. Okay? So let's just get right to it. So here we have the sample code that's provided to us on the assessment page. And what we'll do is we'll just knock this out one requirement at a time. So the first requirement is to create a variable that can hold a number of NFTs. What type of variable might this be? So if you think about what we studied in the course, we need a variable that can hold multiple values, right? So right away, what comes to my mind, of course, is something like an array, right? Because you can store any number of values in it, and they're all inside one variable. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll define our array, and we'll just call this NFTs. And we indicate that this is an array by assigning it these bracket parameters. Okay, step 2 already. Create an object inside your mint NFT function that will hold the metadata for your NFTs. The metadata values will be passed to the function as parameters. When the NFT is ready, you will store it in the variable you created in step 1. Okay, so we'll just take this step by step. So the first thing it says to do is to create an object. So let's go ahead and create object. So it's going to be const NFT. That makes sense. And some curly braces to indicate it's an object. And it says the values are going to be passed to us through parameters. So let's go ahead and set those up. Now I remember the assessment page had a few examples. So just to make this easy, we'll go ahead and use those. So the first one is going to be a name, an eye color, a shirt type, and then of course, since this is crypto, we gotta have some bling. Okay, perfect. Now you may be asking yourself, well, Chris, why do we have underscores in front of these names? This is a styling preference. For me, I like to put the underscores as a way to distinguish that these are parameters. And you'll see why that kind of helps in just a moment. Because what we are going to do is create our properties now for this object. The first one being name. And as you can see, since we used the underscore, we can easily tell the difference between these. Then we have eye color, shirt type, and the most important property, some bling. Perfect. So now we have our object. Then it says the next thing we have to do is store it in our array, of course. So let's go ahead and do that. Now I remember from the course, one of the things that we learned is that NFTs kind of have like some built-in functions of their own. One of those functions is called push. What that does is anything that's put into it, it just automatically ends it to the end of the array. Since our array is currently empty, that's simply just going to become our very first object in the array. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll go ahead and push our NFT. Easy peasy. And this isn't a requirement, but so we can get a bit of a confirmation that this has completed successfully. I'm going to go ahead and include a console.log here. And we're just going to say minted, and then we'll concatenate the name of the NFT there. So it's going to say minted and then whatever the name of the NFT is. That way we know that just everything worked. All right, number 2 down. Number 3, your list NFTs function will print all of the NFTs metadata to the console. Okay. And then here we can see that it says to create a loop that will go through an array of NFTs. Sounds like a hint. And print their metadata with console.log. Okay, so I think the easiest loop for this would be the for loop. Coincidentally, it's also the most popular and most used loop. So we'll go ahead and do that. So for I is equal to 0. And then we're going to say, while I is less than the length of our NFT array, we want to continue and then add 1 to I. So since arrays are 0 indexed, what's going to happen is I is going to go from 0 to 1 to 2 and so forth until it gets to the length of the array, at which point it'll stop. And you're going to see that's going to be very useful because we're going to use I as our indexer. So we'll say console.log, and then we'll pass in our array, and then simply use the value I. So as this iterates, it's just going to continuously print whatever is in those locations in the array. So I believe that does it. For good measure, get total supply should return the number of NFTs you have created. Okay. So we already said that the length of the array is essentially a count of how many items are in the array. So I think it makes sense to use that to return the amount of NFTs we have, right? So let's go ahead and do that. So this will simply be console.log nfts.length. Okay, so only thing to do now is to actually test all this out and make sure it works. So we'll go ahead and call our minting function. What's nice here is automatically going to tell you what it expects you to pass to it. So here you can say it's waiting for a name. We'll go ahead and pass in something super creative like Bob. Eye color, blue. I think that's going to be pretty good. Shirt type, we'll go with a hoodie. And then, of course, that bling, we got to go with a gold chain, right? A Rocket Classic. Okay. Next thing that we're going to want to do is then print out our NFT to the console. So we'll just call list NFTs. And then finally, we want to make sure that our get total supply works. So we'll go ahead and call that. And that's looking pretty good. So I'll just right click and select run code. And perfect. So we can see minted Bob, and then we got the metadata for that. So we see the name, the eye color, shirt type, the bling. And then finally, we have a value of 1 for the length. So pretty awesome. Though I think we could do a little better. For instance, this kind of looks, like we got these curly braces here and stuff. And if we get more than one NFT, I think it's just going to not look very presentable. So what we can do alternatively is console out the individual parameters, or properties, I should say, for the object. So let's go ahead and do that. So we do console.log. Oh, not here. Do it in the correct function. So console.log, and then we're going to do NFTs I, of course. And then we're going to use the dot operator to get the name. And then we're going to just copy paste this a few times, just so we can get those other properties as well. So now we're going to have console.log eye color. Then shirt type. And finally, our with extra dot. Okay, cool. So let's see how that looks. Okay, a little better, a little better. But I think I'd like to see some spacing here so these aren't all just clumped together. So what we can do is add some text here. So we'll say name, and then we'll concatenate the information that we're getting from the NFT. And then if we want to have a space here, all we have to do is use a new line here, which is just going to be the /n. And we'll go ahead and do the same thing with these. So we're going to have eye color, then the concatenation. Again, you don't have to do this for your submission, but this is just like a little extra sauce that could be useful to you just to solidify things. And this is our shirt type. And then finally, blank. Oh, no, not like that. Okay. So let's go ahead and see what that looks like now. Okay, cool. So we have that spacing there. We got the properties. I think one thing that would be nice is to also get a space here after the gold chain is printed. So what we'll do is just add a new line here as well. So we'll just do /n. Okay, cool. So now we got spacing between all those. Now, I think what would be cool as well is to, like when we're printing these out, to give them like an ID, right? So to do that, what we can do is console.log, and then we'll say ID, and then this is going to be equal to whatever I currently is plus 1. Now the reason for that is I is starting at 0. So if you think about the very first NFT that we get, we know that's going to be 1, right? But if we printed I here, it would be 0. So when we add 1 to it, it gives us the actual like ID number for it, right? So it's just kind of like a cheap little trick to do that. And now since that's our first value, we'll just add this /n here. And then I think for a final bit of sauce, we'll just add some tab spacing here, which is going to be a /t. So /t. We'll add 2 tabs there. 2 tabs. 2 tabs here. Shirt type is already kind of long, so I think we might be able to just use 1 tab there. Oh, of course, always use the / for this. And /t/t. Okay, so let's see how that looks. Okay, so that is a little too much. We see ID, name, and bling looks good, but we could probably remove 1 tab from eye color and shirt type. So we'll go ahead and remove one from there, which means shirt type doesn't need it at all. And perfect. So now everything is lined up. We got nice spacing. It's beautiful. So now I think there's only one thing left to do, which is to just add a few more NFTs for good measure. Get a little excited with the copy pasting sometimes. Okay, so more super creative names like Sue, Tim, and John. And they're just all going to be wearing the same stuff just to save some time. Okay, so we have Minted, Bob, Sue, Tim, and Joggin, because I can't spell. Amazing. And then we have ID 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we have 4 NFTs. And that is it. We have completed this assessment. Now, one thing you might be asking yourself, well, Chris, it says I need to put this on my GitHub. I have no idea how to do that. So how do I even do that? Well, that's a good question. And now what you can do after you create your GitHub account, of course, is go into here where it says new, click that, and then it's going to ask for a repository name. Now this could be whatever you want it to be. In this case, I'm going to call it JS assessment. And just click create repository. You just ignore everything else for now. Now we have created our very first repository. Well, in your case, maybe your first. So now that we're here, it says we have an option to create a new file in order to populate this. Since we just have one file, I think that makes the most sense in this case. There's multiple ways you can go about doing this. If you want to learn more ways, I would recommend just searching YouTube for GitHub tutorials and so forth. But what we'll do is we'll just copy all of this, click create a new file, and of course you're going to want to name your file, so we'll just call this JS. Again, you can name this whatever you want. We'll just call this JS test maybe. Paste that in, and just click commit new file. And there you have it. So now the code that we just completed together is in your GitHub and ready for submission. So at this point, all you would have to do is click the file, and then you can either copy this and use that as your submission link, or you can ideally use this one here, which is your root URL, right? So you just copy that, paste it, and you're good to go. So just make your video. Actually, yes, make your video. Just talking about how you created this, submit, and you will be all done. So with that said, congratulations on finishing your very first assessment with us, and I look forward to seeing you in our other courses. Take care.